Hello, fifth grade cellists. We have a cello right next to our chair, and we need to figure out how do we get this thing out ready to go on our first day. So the first thing we'll need to do is bring this cello a little bit toward the middle, because it's a little bit easier to negotiate what we have to do if it's right in front of us. So you'll notice that there are a couple different pouches on your case, and so in these pouches we'll find all the things we need to make this cello work for us today. The first thing we want to take out is the end pin anchor, and you probably will find that on the front of your case someplace. The end pin anchor looks like this, and this is how we keep the cello in the right spot as we play. So once we've removed that end pin anchor, we're going to choose a leg to place it on, and we'll be ready to go with that as soon as we get our cello out. Next, on the front of your case, you will find another pouch, a long skinny pouch, and this is where we're going to find our bow. Even though we're not going to use our bow for these first couple lessons, we want to get this out of the case so it's out of the way, and it'll make our case, or make our cello easier to get out of the case. So we'll open up that Velcro pocket on this case and pull out that bow very carefully. And then if you have a music stand, you could just place it on the stand, but I don't right now, so I'm just going to place this right behind me on my chair, and it's just going to sit here while we do the rest of this unpacking process. Now, I need to get my handles apart. This case happens to have two handles that Velcro together, but we need those separated to be able to unzip. What you'll find on the bottom of your case are two zippers. One skinny little zipper on the bottom, and then one longer zipper on the top. And in order to get your cello in and out easily, you're going to want to undo both. So we're going to undo that bottom zipper as far as it'll go. Not too far, it just slides, tucks under the end of the cello. And then this larger zipper will go all the way up to the top. Now, as I'm going all the way up to the top, what you'll want to notice is that those two zippers met in the middle around this part of your cello, the end pin. And there are many times where I'll see students who take that top zipper, that long zipper, and just whip it right around, and that makes it really hard to get your cello in the right spot in your case. So when we close this back up, we'll put them in the middle together. So I'm unzipping this big top zipper, and I can start to peel away the cello case. Now the best thing to do at this point is to grab a hold of the neck of the cello on the inside. The other thing to do is to grab on the bottom of the cello, and I'm going to lift up the bottom and wiggle it out. So now it's out of the case safely. Now you have this case laying on the ground, so we'll want to get this out of the way. So still holding onto my cello, and I'm holding right along the neck. I'm just going to pick that case up, and if it happens to be on the left side, that's okay, it can stay there. If it goes to the right side, that's okay too. But now I have my instrument out of the case. We need to figure out now how to adjust the instrument so that it is in the right place for you. So I'm going to pick my instrument up and rest it right on my knees, and then notice on the bottom this end pin we talked about earlier. So to make the end pin longer or shorter, you have to loosen the screw. So it's like any other screw, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So I just gave it a little half turn to get it out, and then we should be able to pull out our end pin. Now the question becomes, how long do I pull it out? Because everybody's different sizes and different shapes. We need to get it to about the right place for the player. So once we've guessed that spot, and here's a good way to guess it, hang 10 and about 2 fingers, and we should be right about the right spot for you. So once I've guessed it, and when we do this a couple times, you'll know exactly where that spot is. We'll tighten it up. So now it's secure and it's not going to move. I'm going to grab onto the side of my cello, and I've already attached my end pin anchor to the bottom of my chair. And so I'm going to place that end pin into the anchor, and I'm going to see how we did. Another good way to help figure out how to adjust your cello is to get that end pin out to the spot you think it is, and then look to see where the scroll, the fancy curly part on the top, ends up. And in this case, it should end up right about at my nose. Someplace in that area between nose and chin is a good spot. So I think I might have guessed. Okay, so we're going to check this out as I sit down. I've got my cello arm's length away. My scroll is right about at my nose. So I'm going to sit down in my chair, I'm going to spread my feet apart, and then pull that cello in to my body. Now, another good indication of where the cello, if it's in the right spot, is to figure out if the C peg, this peg that's closest to your head on the bottom is right about at your ear. So if I turn my head just a little bit, it sits right in there. So now I've done 3 different tests. I've tested hang 10 plus 2. I checked to see that the scroll was right about at my nose. And then I brought down the cello and checked to see if my ear is lined up with the C peg. So I think I am pretty well adjusted. Still have my hands on the cello at all times. This is a very important thing to remember, that as cello players, our instruments are big and bulky. We always want to have our hands on it at all times. Never leave it alone or unattended, because that's when accidents will happen. And I think we're ready to start to play.